Ahem. Habra. Hey guys, today I will be doing my first ever book versus movie video. This is a series that me and Emmy are going to do where I, compare a book to its movie counterpart. Yay! So today I will be doing Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. And for those of you who don't know, I'm a bit of a Harry Potter fan. Just a little, just a smidge of a fan. Teeny, tiny fan. I definitely don't have a Ravenclaw scarf in my car. Nope. I have a problem. Because Harry Potter is such a expansive world and series, I will be focusing mainly on major plot points that happen in this video and any other book versus movie videos for Harry Potter. Eventually, if I do decide to do the entire series, which I probably will, I'll devote a video at the end of it to the big character changes that happened over the entire series. So, without further ado, let's do this. The beginning of the book starts off very different from the beginning of the movie. In the book, we have a full chapter dedicated to the Dursleys' life and their relationships and just a whole explanation as to what their lives have been like. And it allows the audience to get a really good perspective on what these people are like. Followed then by the conversation between Dumbledore and McGonagall, it allows a contrast between the Wizarding world and the Dursleys' lives, which dramatically comes into play throughout the rest of the series. We also meet Draco a lot earlier in the books than we do in the movies. In the movies, it's not until we get to Hogwarts that we meet Mr. Malfoy. But in the books, we meet him right when Hagrid and Harry go to Diagon Alley. Harry is getting fitted for his school robes when Draco comes in, and they have a really awkward conversation, which is usually how that goes with Harry. But the movie does a really good job at keeping very close to the books, so we don't get the next dramatic change until almost halfway through the book, when Malfoy challenges Harry and Ron to a midnight duel. This midnight duel is how Harry, Ron, Hermione, and in the books Neville end up finding the three-headed dog, versus in the movie where they just get on a random staircase and it just kind of takes them there. So when Draco initially asks for the midnight duel, Harry and Ron initially accept, and then Hermione overhears this happening and is like, this isn't a good idea, we shouldn't do this, you guys are stupid, don't. And they ignore her, and so they decide to sneak out anyway. Hermione follows them, and she gets locked outside of the Commons because the fat lady is doing whatever she's doing. They also end up meeting Neville this way because he has forgotten the password to get into the Commons in the first place, so he's lying on the floor in front of the Commons sleeping. The four of them go to the trophy room where Draco says that he'll meet them, but because Draco is a coward, he doesn't meet them. Instead, he tips off Filch that they are going to be there, and Filch comes looking. As they're running through the school trying to get back to the Commons, trying to avoid Filch, that is when they meet the three-headed dog. So the next important change is how Harry ends up finding about Snape's bloodied leg. In the movie, he sees it when Snape has come in to scold them for fighting the troll. In the book, Harry, Ron, and Hermione are outside talking about everything, and Harry is reading Quidditch Through the Ages that Hermione gave him. As he's reading it, Snape comes to him and takes the book away and confiscates it. At the end of the day, Harry goes back and tries to get it, and when he does, he sees Snape with his leg exposed, and you see the big bite on his leg, and that's how Harry sees it. The next change that happens is with Norbert the Norwegian Ridgeback. Now, in the movies, Harry, Ron, and Hermione go there when they're talking about the Sorcerer's Stone. He opens it, they see the dragon, they see Draco, who also sees the dragon, and then they run back up and get caught by McGonagall. In the books, the whole thing is drastically different. They go there to talk about the Sorcerer's Stone, and they see the dragon, yes, and they see Draco, yes, but they don't get caught, because I think it's the middle of the day or something. But they do try and convince Hagrid to let them take the dragon to Ron's older brother, Charlie, who exists and is currently studying dragons in Romania. Hagrid reluctantly agrees, so Hermione and Harry sneak out using the invisible cloak to bring Norbert to Charlie. On their way back, they forget the invisibility cloak on the top of the tower, which they were meeting him, and Filch catches them. Then they find out that Neville, poor, innocent, sweet baby Neville, had found a letter that Charlie had sent them telling them that it was okay to give them the dragon, and went out to warn them. He got caught by McGonagall. So instead of it being Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Draco that end up going into the forest as punishment, it's Draco, Neville, Harry, and Hermione. Going into the forest is also different from what happens in the movies. In the movies, they go into the Forbidden Forest to find the thing that is hurting the unicorn, and initially it's separated Harry, Draco, and Fang versus Hermione, Ron, and Hagrid. Harry and Draco find the thing that's been killing the unicorns, Draco runs away, Harry stays, Firenze saves him, and then Hagrid comes, and they all go back to the school. However, in the book, yes, they go into the Forbidden Forest to help find the thing that has been killing the unicorns, but it isn't initially separated into Harry, Draco, and Fang until later. It starts off with Harry, Hermione, and Hagrid versus Draco, Neville, and Fang. So Harry, Hermione, and Hagrid, as they're walking through the forest, hear some noises, and out of the trees comes two centaurs, Ronan and Blaze. Now these two characters come into play more in the books, and they're not mentioned at all in the movies, which is a big overall difference, which I will get into when I do the big overarching video. But for now, that's just something that happens. After they leave, Hagrid, Harry, and Hermione see red sparks go into the air, which was the signal that they were going to use for when the other group was in trouble. So Hagrid leaves them and they stay. When Hagrid comes back with the other three, they find out that Draco was being a little snot, and he tricked Neville, and Neville threw the sparks up in panic. And so Hagrid rearranges the groups so that it's now Hermione, Neville, and Hagrid versus Draco, Fang, and Harry. At this point, it kind of realigns with what happens in the movie, where Harry and Draco find the thing that's been killing the unicorns, Harry's scar burns, Firenze comes and saves them. However, there are the two other centaurs that come and they have an interaction, but that's more for the overarching theme than, what I'm currently focusing on right now. And then Hagrid comes and they all go back to the castle, and Harry explains to Ron and Hermione exactly what happened while they were not there. The last big change is at the very end of the movie / the very end of the book. In the movie, when they're going for the Sorcerer's Stone, they have 5 rooms they need to get through. They have to get through Fluffy's room, they have to get through the plant room, they have to get through the Quidditch key room, they have to get through the chess room, and then they're at the room that holds the Sorcerer's Stone. In the book, there are 7 rooms. Each one was put in by a specific teacher. So we have Fluffy's room, we have the plant room, we have the key room, then we have the chess room, then we have the troll room, then we have a potions room, and then you have the room with the Sorcerer's Stone in it. So the differences in each room. In Fluffy's room, music isn't playing when they come in. They have to play their own music with a flute that Harry got from Hagrid during Christmas. So they pass the flute around, Harry jumps in, then Ron jumps in, then Hermione is the last one to jump in. They get in, leaving us into the plant room. In the plant room, because Hermione jumped last, she's able to get up and away from the plants that have already constricted Harry and Ron. Then she does the spell, they get out. It's pretty similar to the movie. And the changes I will, again, go over in the overarching video, because that's more about their characters than plot-specific moments. And then they go into the key room, and the main difference in this room is that Harry and Ron have brooms. It's not just Harry. Both of them are up at the same time, going through, they get it, and then they get into the next room, chess room, which is almost identical to the movie. They play the chess game, Ron sacrifices himself, and then they go on to the next room. The difference is Hermione goes with Harry to the next room, which when they open it, they are like engulfed in this smell of badness, and they realize that once they get farther into the room that there's a troll unconscious lying on the ground. So they don't really have to deal with the challenge in that room. It's kind of already dealt with, but it's still that moment of like, ugh. Then they go into the next room, also not in the movie, the potions room. This is the room that's set up by Snape. And the concept of this is it's not magic, it's logic. And so when they get into this room, flames engulf both doorways, going forward and going back. And in order to go forward or go back, they have to drink certain potions so that they don't, get burned. There are 9, I think, potions laid out in front of them. 2 of them are helpful. One gets them through, one gets them to go behind. some are wine, and then the rest are poison. So Hermione goes through and she takes the clues that she's given, and she finds out which ones go forward and which ones go back. And this is where you get the moment between Harry and Hermione where Harry's like, you're clever, and Hermione's like, books and cleverness, you know, there's more important things. You're meant to do this. And then Harry goes on to the next room, and Hermione goes back to get Dumbledore with Ron. So, the encounter with Quirrell. It's very, very similar to the movie, but one of the bigger differences that can be noticed is Voldemort's tactic of getting Harry to give him the stone. In the movie, Voldemort says that he can bring Harry's parents back, that if he gives him the stone, Voldemort can bring back Harry's parents. And Harry's like, you liar! And then fight ensues. In the book, it's very different. In the book, Voldemort basically says that if you don't give me the stone, you are going to die begging for mercy like his parents did, which is drastically different than I'll bring your parents back to life. Which, you know, whew, for a book meant for 11-year-olds, having the antagonist say at the end of the book, your parents died begging for mercy, it's kind of dark. It's a little dark. But hey, you know, villains be villains. After that, it's vaguely similar to the movie. Harry wakes up in the hospital, they have the conversation with Dumbledore. In the books, Hermione and Ron visit Harry in the hospital. In the movies, he meets up with them before dinner. They get the points that allow them to win the House Cup, and then it's time to go home. And that's where it ends in the movie, is the train riding off into the sunset. In the book, it ends with Harry having to go back with the Dursleys and them leaving together, and it's kind of this sad reminder that Harry has to go back to an abusive family. That's a fun note to end that book on. Hey! And also a note to end this video on. So those were the main differences between the books and the movie. Obviously there were smaller differences that I couldn't go over without making this video 40 minutes long, so that's where I'm gonna end it. Thank you guys so much for watching and taking the time out to see this video. Yeah, I'll see you next week.